Hello, in this video I will show you how to use the Platinum Dispatcher Scheduler that I sell on Etsy, my website, and also Gumroad. So if you're interested, check out the link in the description. If you purchase this item on my website, it's a little bit cheaper and you get 10% discount, so check out the link in the description. This scheduler is, I would say, the most advanced Google Sheets dispatcher scheduler that I've seen on the market, mainly because it could calculate ETA between 2 points, and also it calculates the rolling recapture based on hours of service rules and regulation. So I sell two versions of this. So the first version is the platinum version, so that is basically the best of the best, and then I sell a gold version. So the platinum version, if you can see, it has the hours of service calculator. So both of them have the calculator, and then the rolling recapture rule, and then the rolling recapture summary. It has a distance and miles per hour calculator as well. So both of this are Google API driven, so it's heavily very script based. So if you don't know what a script is basically it's just a back-end coding that I wrote that can automate processes very quickly. Something that can, people take maybe a few days to do, it can do within a minute or so. So that's basically a script that's built into here. And then, as you can see with the platinum, the differentiation with the platinum and the gold is that with the platinum, you have an auto schedule archiving. So you can archive your schedule every day. Basically, you can schedule that, you can archive that data every week. And then the one-click schedule clear. So basically, you just click on a button and then your schedule will automatically clear, and then you will be ready for the next week to do your trucking dispatch, right? Can you imagine, you're clearing out 7 days of data, you have to click on each cell and then clearing it out manually. So that can take a lot of time. With the one-click schedule clear, it's very quick, right? You just click a button and then 1 second later, your schedule is all clear and ready for you to set up for the next week. And it also has an auto-generated delivery summary. So basically, this is a concatenation of various important information that you can automatically send to your client. So basically, it just concatenates the driver, the ETA, their phone number, the destination, origin, and then any comments you have. So you can copy and paste that and just email it to your client. So it's very neat. So that's just the differentiation between the two, platinum and gold. And of course, if you don't need the 67 or 78 recapture rule or the rolling summary, I do sell another tier that's below this where, it has the calculator, but it does not handle the recapture rules. Okay. All right. So let me show you how this template works. So if you purchase this item, you get 2, 4, 6 tabs. So the first tab is, just basic information. You just read this through, how you set it up, etc. And then the second one is just more information about the logic of this calculator. You can read through it when you have time. And then this is where I would start very first. If you're in a hurry, make sure you have this set up because this data directly talk to the scheduler. So here you can set up the driver name, the phone number, truck, trailer. So and then basically when you pick a truck number on the scheduler, it will associate that number with the phone, the driver, and trailer, and it'll populate it on the scheduler. Alright, so like for example, Jane Doe, this is her phone number, this is the truck that she's assigned to, and then this is the trailer number that she's assigned to. And then here's a list of brokers that you work with. You can put that there, and then you can also populate that on the schedule. Okay, so once you're happy inputting this information here for your truck or broker setup, then you can go to the scheduler, which is the heart of the tool here. So the first step here, I have some of the information filled out, but when you get this, you'll get a completely blank Google Sheet file. But I need to fill this out because I want to show you various simulations of the calculator. Okay. So first thing you can look at here is the top left here, which is the weekly setting. So you can set, the year. So any year you want, it goes up to the year 2050. So basically you can use this template forever and the calculator forever. Just a one-time purchase, and then you can set it like any month you want, and then any start day you want to start on a Sunday or Monday. So you see right now I have it start on a Monday, but like if I start on a Sunday, click on a Sunday, it'll change to Sunday, right? So if I choose Monday, it'll change to Monday. And then the week number, what week number do you want in this month? So, if I pick week 4, it'll change to week 4. But if I pick week 5, it'll change to week 5. So you can see if I pick any week, right? Week 1, it'll tell me what the dates are. here, and then those dates here would also match. So 5/6/2025 to 6/1/2025, right? So 5/6/2025, and then all the way down here you have June 1st, 2025. So on the scheduler you have 7 of these blocks where you can enter in your schedule, and in each of these blocks there's 15 rows. That means that you can schedule 15 trucks a day. So why you have 7 blocks is for so each day in the day you get 1 block, right? So this will be like 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, day 4th, day 5th, day 6th, day 7. You get 7 days, so 7 blocks. All right, so let's just change this to the 5th week, because I want to start on June 23rd. Then it'll be June 23rd to June 29th. And then, so then if you want, June 30th, you just need to go to July, right here. And then you just pick, I guess you can do 1. So that'll be June 29 to July, right? All right, so let's just do Monday and let's do June. Let's go back here and do 5th, okay? June 23rd to June 29. So these are the 7 days within June 23rd, June 29. Okay. All right. So how this works is that once you pick your weekly setting, then you can come here and then you can pick your truck number. So you can pick any truck you want, right, to schedule. Let's say I'm picking truck number 2. So as you pick truck number 2, it tells you what the date is. So this is June 23rd, right? So this is the week I'm working on, June 23rd, and I'm scheduling truck number 2, and truck number 2 has trailer number 15 that goes with it, and the driver, you can either put a driver name or a driver code name. So Max Ryans is assigned to truck number 2, and then this is his phone number, and here you can put the load ID, and then here you can put the freight or broker. So this list come from this trucker broker setup that you have here. So all of this name should be from the in the drop down here. So that's why it's important to set up this sheet first before you work on the scheduler. Oops, let me go back real quick. All right, so then here you can pick any freight broker if you want, and then here you can select backhaul or head haul, and then here you can put the load rate. So here you can put a rate and it'll automatically calculate your rate per mile, which is the RPM. So let's say it's 2,500, okay? And it'll calculate once you have the distance information populated, and then it'll tell you what the RPM is. So you can just put in the load rate. So you can put in any PO number, and then here you can just put in, what's the status, and here you can put the location. I will just put this as Seattle, Washington, and then here you can either put the complete address or you can put the city or state, right? So if you put the complete address, the miles will be more accurate versus if you just put the city or state. So either or, okay? So I would just do Kent, Washington to Oakland, California. And as you can see here, it will automatically populate the distance between these 2 points. So this population here, this data here comes from Google. It uses Google API, so it gives you the distance. It's basically the same as, you were typing this into Google Maps, basically. And then here, if you want to adjust the miles, let's say you need like a 20-mile detour or whatnot, you can add 20 miles or whatever you want, or like 1,000-mile detour, so add up that 787 plus that 1,000. So then that's how it arrives there, right? So if you take this out, it'll just give you whatever Google gave you for the distance between these 2 points. And then the average speed here is 65. Please note that this template, the average speed is capped at 65. If you want to make it higher or lower, you can change that, and there will be instructions over here that shows you how to do it, and also in the setup of this item when you first purchase it. All right, so right now it's assuming, you're gonna go 787 miles at 65 miles an hour. And also, if we go back here, you can see the RPM here is calculated because the miles are already populated. So in order to calculate the RPM, you need to know what the load rate is and what your total miles is, right? So to see if you make a profit or not. And then here, for the calculator to work, you absolutely need to give it a driving start date and then a driving start time. So let's say we'll start on June 23rd, 2025, and start time, let's say 6 a.m. You can put any time, but you need to give it a time, right? So it knows when you're starting, so it can give you an ETA, whether you're doing it 6 a.m., 6 p.m., whatever, but give it a time. And then here it calculates the hours needed to finish this drive. You need 12 hours and 12.15 hours. And here you need to tell it what recapture you want. But I think with this, you probably don't, the recapture rule will not apply because you're not going to take more than 8 days to drive. But you need to give it a rolling or a recapture rule. Either pick 78 or 67. You need to give it something, and then either pick you want like the 34-hour reset or you want rolling. Okay, and then from here you can pick standard or custom. If you pick standard here, it will work automatically. The calculator would work. But let's say you pick custom, it's not going to work. A toast message on the bottom right is going to tell you to go up to this trucking tool to use the custom. Okay, so let me show you. So let's say I want to use custom, I don't want standard. So custom is basically actually let me explain custom or standard first. So standard is basically 11 hours of driving, 30 minutes of break, and 10 hours of rest. That's pretty much like you're hitting the maximum allowed by law, right? So that's pretty much standard. Okay, so if you don't want that, then you want custom where you can put, maybe you drive less, maybe you drive 10 hours, you get a 45-minute break and maybe like 15-hour rest. You can do that, but you need to put that into custom. So in order to do a customized hours of service setting, what you need to do is click on the cell, okay, and then go to the trucking tools up here in the menu bar, and then click on it. And then here you can click on set custom HOS parameter. So once you click on that, a box will pop up. It'll ask you, do you want to set custom in this column Y, and then input in your parameter, just hit yes. And then from there, you need to put in what are the hours, right? So let's say you want to drive 8 hours, rest 12 hours, and then you want a 45-minute break. Then you hit save, and it'll take a while for it to calculate it, right? And now, because it's not, you're not driving 11 hours straight, right? You're driving, 8 hours? So it takes a little bit more time to get there. So that's why you see the ETA increase. And then if you want to see, okay, like how did it come up with this number? How did it come with this ETA, right? June 24th at 7:38 a.m., which is 1 day, 1 hour, and 39 minutes. What you can do is click on this on column, on column AC. On this column that says generate projected ETA calculation, or you can click yes, but don't waste your time, because if you click yes, there's going to be a toast message here on the bottom right. It's going to tell you, hey, go up there and click on the show ETA explanation. Okay, so what you need to do is just click on this cell here, and then go to trucking tool, and then just go show ETA explanation, and then a box will show up and tell you how it came up with that trip duration or that ETA, right? So as you can see here, this is, you start on June 23rd at 6 a.m. You drive 8 hours, you have 45-minute break, and then you take 12 hours of rest, and next hour that you start is 2:45 a.m. You drive another 4.15 hour, 45-minute break. Then you get then you arrive there at 7:38 a.m. Okay. So yeah, and then this is the rolling recapture, but it's not 8 hours, 8 days, so you don't really see rolling recapture. It just take maybe like 2 days or a day actually. So the rolling recapture doesn't really matter at this point, right? So then you're done. I want to show you how the rolling recapture works. So how I want to show you that is by increasing the distance, so that you can see when you're driving a very long time, where you drive more than 8 days or 7 days, right? You can see how the rolling recapture of the calculator work. So for example, I took the two furthest point in the U.S., Cape Flattery, Washington to Key West, Florida. That's about 9,600. I think it's about 3,000 some miles. And I added an additional 6,000 miles just to force that trip to be longer, so I can show you how the rolling recapture work. Okay, so just keep this in mind. So the origin will be Cape Flattery to Key West, and then I add additional 6,000 miles. So total trip will be 9,649 miles. Your average mph would be 55, and I'm starting to drive at 6:23 and at 6 a.m. So it's telling me that I need at least 175 hours to finish the trip, right? And then here I pick 7-8 recapture rule, and then for rest requests I choose rolling, and here I choose standard, meaning I'm be driving 11 hours with driving 11 hours, and then I get a 30-minute break, and then I get a 10-hour rest. Okay, HOS rule said that you can drive maximum 11 hours, and after 8 hours of continuous driving you need a 30-minute break and you need 10 hours of rest. Okay, and so it tells me that it needs 16 days, 16 hours, and 37 minutes to get there. And then so I expected ETA will be July 9th. Okay, so I want to click on this show explanation so I can see how it come up with this and how did the rolling recapture work, right? So I'll just click on that. And as you can see here, right, so this is all the data that we've input. So you're driving from the 23rd all the way to June 28th. From June 23rd to June 28th, by this point here you reach 70 hours, right? So 11, so you can see here the recapture summary. So 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66. By June 28th at 3 p.m. that you start driving, it'll hit 70 hours, right? So by the time you finish at 7 p.m. it'll hit 70 hours. So you cannot drive anymore. Now you must rest, right? Your 10 hours of rest is considered off duty, right? So that 10 hours, now you need to wait until June 23rd, 6 a.m. falls off so that you can get your 11 hours back. But if you wait too long for this hour to fall off and you hit 34 hours, that means your whole your whole off time is going to be reset. So if you wait 34 hours or more, that means your hours have been reset. So it's like you've never worked the past 8 days, right? So your hour is completely reset and then you get 70 hours back. So as you can see here, from 7 p.m. on June 28 to June 35 a.m. is about 34 hours, right? So if we were doing a rolling reset, when would that, you would have to wait a little bit longer because for June 23rd, 2025 at 6 a.m., if you add 192 hours to that, you will get July 1st, right? So you need to wait till July 1st. So that means that you might have to wait a little bit longer for this hour to fall off. So why are we looking at 192 hours? Because this is a 78 rolling recapture. So 8 days times 24, you get 192. So in order for July 1st, in order for us to be able to for June 23rd to fall off, we need to wait until actually July 1st because June 23rd plus 192 hours is somewhere in July, right? But we don't want to wait until July 1st. We want to keep going, or at least if we hit the 34-hour reset, we want to go right away because in trucking, it's very unforgiving and you want to make sure that you deliver your load as quickly as possible, right? And stay within regulation and rules. So as you can see here, it's actually, by the time that you start on June 30th at 5 a.m., this June 23rd has not fallen off yet for you to recapture this 11 hours, but you can go because you've waited 34 hours. So if you've rested for 34 hours, so that means your 70 hours has been reset, right? So just keep going like this. So the system is very smart. And let me tell you, if you choose standard and you want to see rolling recapture, it's probably going to be nearly impossible because by driving 11 hours and taking 30-minute break and taking 10 hours of rest, you're pretty much pushing it to the limit of the rules and regulation, right? In order for you to make rolling recapture work and avoid the 34-hour reset, you either need to increase your rest time or reduce your drive time or have a combination of both, right? Lower drive time higher rest time. And then you can see how the rolling recapture works. So pretty much you just wait, maybe 12-15 hours until the first of the 8th day fall off. Then you can recapture those hours and you can keep going, and then you can just hit 70 hours every time, right, until you get to your destination. But because you're pushing this to the limit using the standard, you're not going to be able to get like a rolling recapture without avoiding the 34-hour reset. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. All right, so let me show you an example of that. So an example of that would be the custom here. So let me show you. So I would put here as a show explanation for this. So this is the same thing. So you can see it's the same distance, same average speed. It's just that this one I set a custom. So instead of driving 11 hours, I made it drive 8 hours and then 30-minute break and then 12-hour rest, right? So as you can see here, there's no 34-hour reset, but because you've increased your rest time and decreased your drive time, so your waiting time is less than 34 hours. So as you can see here, from 8:30 to about 6 a.m. is about 21.5 hours, but this code, it always round up the number, so it's about 22 hours. But the time here is not wrong. You're waiting until basically June 23rd, this 6 a.m. at 8 hours to fall off. So when would this fall off? It will fall off on July 1st at 6 a.m. You just take July 1st, 6 a.m. minus 192 hours. What do you arrive at, right? June 23rd, 6 a.m. So by July 1st, 6 a.m., you recapture this 8 hours, right? So right now, on July 1st, what are you going to arrive with? Right? You're at 70. So you keep waiting, right? Every time you have this rest, and you keep trying to recapture your 8 hours back to keep going. And sometimes by doing this is a little bit less efficient than you just wait the 34 hour, because as you can see, right, these two are the same, the same distance, but the standard, you get less time because you have a 34-hour reset versus this. It takes longer because you're just waiting every time. You're just waiting. Sometimes it can be a little bit inefficient, right? Just waiting to get those hours back versus you do a hard 34-hour reset, and then you take all that 70 hours and then you keep going, right? And then you hit your max again. Then you can do your 34-hour reset. So sometimes a 34-hour reset can be better than the rolling, but it just depends on your strategy and your plan, how you can stay within the rules and regulation. And then the other thing I want to show you is that with the custom, because you can type whatever you want into the custom, right? So let me show you. You can type whatever you want in here. I mean, it's not going to tell you no, but it will. Let's say you want 15-hour drive and then rest hour. Let's say you do like 9 rest hour and break is 25 minutes. So as you can see, this is breaking a lot of rules. You cannot drive 15 hours straight, and you need at least 10 hours of rest, and you need 30 minutes of break. So if I hit save on this, it will save and it will give you a calculation. But at the end of the day, but when you click on this to show the ETA calculation, it's basically going to yell at you and tell you, hey, like there's a lot of violation here. So as you can see, right, like it'll give you an ETA based on what you need to do, but but it will yell at you, right? Okay, it'll tell you, hey, like something is not correct here. All right, so that's how it. So this is basically the calculator. So I just showed you the 78 and then rolling, but let me show you an example of a 34-hour reset. So in the rest reset, you can pick between rolling or 34-hour reset. If you pick the 34-hour reset, it will automatically force a 34-hour reset no matter what. It's not gonna wait to see if it can recapture the previous hours. It's just gonna force a 34-hour reset if you hit your limit. Okay, so for example here, let's look at a previous example. So previous example, we have 70-80 rolling standard, and then the projected will be there 16 days, 16 hour and 37 minute. So look at this closely at the explanation here. Okay, I just want you to see this. So you can see here, it's pushing it to the limit because we were doing it rolling, right? It's forcing us to drive at least 70 hours, right? And then you take, and then it waits, and then it forces a 34-hour reset by the time that you wait too long, right? So just notice here, it forces you to drive an additional 4 hours. But if I pick the 34-hour reset, right? So you're going to see that the time will decrease. So we went from 16 days, 16 hours to 15 days, 21 hours, right? So that's a fair amount of time that we saved. So let's go see if we pick the 34-hour reset. Why did it decrease? So let's see. So explanation here. So this box will pop up, and then we can see here everything being the same. We just force an explicit 34-hour reset, right? It's not even waiting for a rolling recapture. It's like you hit the max or close to the max, it's going to force a 34-hour reset. So you can see here, it's not forcing you to drive another 4 hours so that you can hit, the maximum of 70 hours. So you can see here, it's telling you only drive 66 hours, and then it forces a 34-hour reset. So the code is quite smart. So it just, it tried to figure out the most efficient time, the most efficient ETA while staying, while abiding with regulation and making sure that you reach your destination the most efficient time with a 34-hour reset. So that's why that it figured out that if you just avoided that 4 hours of driving and just drive 66 hours and then do a 34-hour reset, you can get there more efficiently. So as you can see, right, by doing a 66-hour drive, right, up to 66-hour drive, and then taking a 34-hour reset, you actually arrive there earlier than doing the regular 78 rolling. Okay, so as you can see, right, because earlier it took us 16 days, 16 hours somewhat, and now it's 15 days, 21 hours. So that's the difference between doing a rolling or 34-hour reset. Rolling, it'll just wait, right? It'll wait. If you hit the limit, it will wait to see if it can recapture the hours from the previous day. And if you wait too long, you hit 34 hours, it'll force a 34-hour reset. But if you pick a 34-hour reset, it's not even going to wait for a rolling or anything, right? It's just going to force our 34-hour reset. So same thing with 67. So if you do 67, you're probably going to increase it a bit because you have to, you have to stop quicker, because you have like 60 hours within the 7 days, right? So you pick 67, same thing, you show explanation here. You can see here, right, it just, forcing you to do, I think, 56 hours instead of 55 hours actually instead of 60 hours because the way it calculates it out is that it figured that if you drive 55 hours instead of 60 hours and then take a 34-hour reset, you get there faster, which is true. So, you can do this different simulation and see, how you can plan out your route and meet HOS rules. Okay. This is basically how it works. If you're gonna do a 67, right? 67 here, it'll just show you a rolling of the 7 days, right? And then same thing for custom. You can do same thing. Just pick 67, 34-hour reset, and then custom. It will force a 34-hour reset for the custom. It won't even wait. So, I hope that helped with showing the difference between the two. And then the other cool thing about the Platinum is that, you can archive this information over. So it will just archive all this data. So just imagine you fill everything out completely, right? Everything out completely here. So if you want to save that data, so you can have a record of it, what you can do is archive it. So let me just clear this real quick. So let me show you how it works. So when you get this will be completely blank, right? And then you want to archive this over. You just click on this black folder here. And then all this data that you've input here, it will move over here. And it will not overwrite this. And the second time you click on it, it will just paste at the bottom of this. So let me show you. So I think it will paste somewhere here. Hopefully. So you can see it's not overwriting the data. So let me click on it again. Yep. Where did it go? So 623. Okay, so it pasted here because the other one here is only 15. So it should stop somewhere here, and then this one's the new data again. So basically what I'm trying to say is not overwriting the old data. It's going to continually paste it. Okay. And then the other thing is, if you're working on this and, can you imagine, right, all of this filled out, like if the next week start, you have to go in and manually clear it out, and just make sure you don't clear out the gray area because they have formulas, right? So you don't want to clear out the gray formulas. So what happens if you click clear? It will reset your calendar. So if I click clear, so everything just resets, right? So next week you can start fresh. And the nice thing about Google Sheet is if you like accidentally click on that, you can retrieve your data. So just click undo, and then all your data will be back, okay? And you can archive it and then clear it again. The other thing I want to show you lastly with the Platinum is pretty cool is that it concatenate all this information like a delivery data. So it concatenate, the driver, the phone number, load ID, PO number, truck number, trailer number, origin, destination, and then any notes that you have here. If you put en route here, you can see it's going to pick it up right here en route, and then you can just copy this data basically. So you just copy this, right, and then you paste it into an email or whatnot, and then you can give it to your client. So for example, I copied that already. So let's say I go to my email, and then you just paste that data, right? See, pretty cool. And then you can just email it to whoever you need to email to. So that's basically how this calculator works. It's I would say it's like the most intuitive and pretty cool thing that I've built. And it took me, I would say, almost a month. First half of the month was just building the calculator without the recapture rule, and then the second half was building the calculator with the recapture rule. And the recapture rule is so complex to the point where I have to test it so many times. But I hope that you find this useful, and if you do, purchase it. And then, I forgot to mention on the top here is where you have like a mini dashboard. So as you can see, it gives you pretty good information. Here, it tells you what your load revenue for the week is, and then what your average RPM for the week, and then your truck status here. And then here it gives you the top 3 destinations that you travel to and what the RPM is for those destinations. And here's your top 3 driver by mile scheduled, and then your total miles. And then here is kind of like a graph. Once you have everything filled out, you can see all the hours needed by the day, and then the miles drive by day. And so pretty cool information. So if you think this is helpful to you, so please check it out. If you have any question, concern, message me, and thank you so much for your time.